Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Coppa Italia dei Juventus versus Lazio in quarter final. It can be a good game, a solid game, a fantastic game, winning because it will pump up the morale of the Bianconeri, but it can also be a total disaster because being eliminated of the Coppa Italia is not an option. Because if you lose today, after losing 5-1 versus Napoli, 3-3 versus Atalanta, after losing 2-0 versus Monza, all the small certainties that are remaining in the heads and the spirit and the energies of Juventus can be blown away. We don't start with the great news because opening Gazzetta dello Sport we read Pogba. Basta has multiple significations in Italian. Basta from stop, but also basta from enough. And I believe that both meanings of the words can be applied in that situation because yesterday Max Allegri announced that Paul Pogba will be out versus the Biancocelesti in the quarter-final of Coppa Italia, 9 p.m. Italian time this evening. No, it is not a joke. It is something that is really annoying. The one that should have brought some leadership in the locker room. The number 10 that should have helped our midfield to go up, to increase the level of a quite mediocre midfield in the last season. Well, he's out. We saw him 0 minutes, 0 seconds in official games. 45 minutes in a friendly versus Chivas in the summer looks like an eternity. The one that should have brought us a smile because we were hoping to see him versus Monza, didn't enter. We know why. A total disaster game versus Monza, 2-0 loss. We were hoping to see him partially or even maybe from the start versus Lazio. This evening, he is not there. Yes, it is annoying. The staff of Juventus is annoyed. Juventus supporters are annoyed. We don't know when he will come back. Attenzione, something has been strangely translated after the words of Max yesterday in press conference, saying that he will be back in 2 or 3 months. This is not correct. Max said yesterday, like for Chiesa, when you come back from so long, there are moments where you are forcing a bit and you have these mini stops again. Well, for Paul Pogba, maybe he will find his optimal form again in 2 or 3 months. That doesn't mean that he will not play. Hopefully we will see him on the field, but to be there with regularity from the first minute, counting on him like 100% available and fit player, we will need some time. Guys, this was about Paul Pogba. Am I angry? Yes, I am angry. I am not happy because I was counting on him a lot. Now we are going towards something that is irritating me even more than Pogba not being able to be called up tonight. Juventus yesterday, they published the list of players being available to be called up for European competition, Europa League. Juventus, they communicated the list A of 25 players and a list B with other young players. The first thing that we are noticing is that Fagioli, Miretti, Ealing Jr. and Sule are not in list A, they are in list B. What is making me angry? What is irritating me? What is making me actually feeling ashamed from some Juventini is that they have no shame in exposing their ignorance about Juventus, but also football in general. But they are absolutely not ashamed to mock and put even more dirt on the name Juventus. You remember when we were saying the word uniti, united, let's stick together, defend Juventus, because if we are not doing it, the other ones, they will not do it. Well, yesterday, scrolling to the messages of a Juventus Twitter account, you can see some crazy messages. Fagioli, Sule and Ealing in B, crying emoji. Then you continue with, so how is Fagioli not in the A list? WTF, really not happy. Fagioli is not in the A list. The worst ones, of course, the one with the profile pictures of a player that is not even at Juventus, Paulo Dybala in a Roma shirt. Fagioli, Ealing Jr. and Sule in lista B, hand palm, face palm, whatever you want to call it. It's not only the English-speaking people, all Juventini can sometimes be ashamed of what they are writing. Miretti, Fagioli, Sule and Ealing Jr. in lista B. Sono il nostro futuro. They are our future. Fateli giocare. Let them play. And then, of course, you couldn't miss the one with Allegri, mocking Allegri because it's the worst thing that ever happened to Juventus, Allegri. It is because of Allegri. Allegri, that he doesn't understand nothing and is putting this player in lista B. And they are even calling Huijsen, that never played with Juventus, in list A. Why? Disgusting. No understanding in football. What are you doing to these young players? You are actually ruining the club, Finnish club, and so on and so on. Well, if some supporters that are actually brave enough to write this disgusting team, they inform themselves, they would understand the reason why there is a list A and list B for every club that are playing European competition. No, it is not because if someone from list A is injured, you can pick up in list B? Absolutely not. It is because UEFA is promoting and obliging clubs to invest in their youth academy. In the youth academy, list B can be added to list A without waiting for some injured players. You can choose from list A and list B whatever you want to. The thing is that you can't add from one list A, more than 25 players. So to actually have more senior players there and all your players available in list A, they added a possibility if you are respecting some rules, like for example, players from between their 15 and 21 years old that were trained by the club, that were there since 3 years consecutively, or other rules. It's too long to explain all the technicity, but actually it's a beautiful message. It's a beautiful message and something that we can be proud of. Juventus, they can put more senior players in list A because they were great in investing in the youth academy, and these players are making part of list B. That list of 25 is going longer with some great players, Fagioli, Ealing Jr., Miretti, Sule, that are actually first squad team being able to be in that list B. It is fantastic. Normally we should, all of us, applauding the work of Juventus, at least on that point, but no, we found a way to not understanding it. Luckily, not all the supporters of Juventus are sometimes a bit ignorant about what they are speaking about. We have yesterday a collective initiative from Juventini supporters that were putting in 3 different pages, newspapers, the big page that they bought with their own money, Giù le mani dalla Juventus. Take your hands off from Juventus. This is what I would love to see in these moments. Unity, going and spreading the message. Don't touch our Juventus. If you don't know, inform yourself. This is what I try to do here on the channel, informing you about what is the reality, not just spreading fake messages or manipulating towards negativity. No, this is not what we are doing. Corriere dello Sport, and we go towards something else. We are going towards the game of today. Speaking about yesterday, Roma, that was eliminated 2-1 from Cremonese. I'm not here to mock Roma, just to say, attenzione, Coppa Italia, everything can happen. Today, if you are going towards the good news, Vlahovic can make a new debut, his first debut in 2023, because he should be one of the players that starts today. We don't know yet how we will play, or at least who will be the man. 3-5-2 looks like that's the model that we are going for, with the Brazilian defense, Perini starting in the goal. Quadrado is back from the first minute, apparently in big form. These are the words of Max Allegri, with Kostic on the left, Miretti, Locatelli, Rabiot in the middle, Di Maria behind Vlahovic. There is another option. Instead of Di Maria, we have Chiesa, and instead of Fagioli, or instead of Miretti, we have Fagioli. 2 different lineups. Will we go towards a 3-5-2? Will we maybe go towards a 4-3-3 with Quadrado playing actually on the back, with Danilo and Bremer, center defenders, Alexandro on the left, 3 men, and then up front 3 men? It's also a possibility. I'm really curious to see what Max will pay attention for, especially when we have to play versus a player like Zaccagni, that is super informed with already 4 assists, a player that is actually really smart when Lazio is going really close and playing, really sticking together in a zone of the field, able to unmark himself and going super wide to go in one-on-one versus the right back of the opposition team. So Quadrado will have a big work on Zaccagni, not only because he's able to do the one-on-one, but also because he already did a lot of assists and he's always there to pay attention to being involved in the game. Something that we have to pay attention for. Fiorentina, that did 1-1 in Serie A versus Lazio, they had a technique, was actually pressing them really high, something that Juventus is not always able to do. We finish with the last topic of today's video. Chi ha paura del meno 15 alla Juventus? Who is scared about the minus 15 points to Juventus? It's not only the Juventini, because like UFC was translating from Tuttosport, the fear is growing amongst club owners in Italian football, who feel that the sentence Juventus received will push the investigators to look into other clubs. What are I saying? It's not only Juventus that was doing plusvalenza. We know it. We all know it. Well, the other clubs are starting to be actually a bit scared, with a lot of people are saying, but we don't know if it's correct, the minus 15, we don't really understand, it looks like a bit strange. So they are taking distance because they know what they did. Well, yesterday there were Abodi, the Minister of Sport in Italy, that were asking themselves question, was doubting the fact that the minus 15 points were correct. Even Salvini, Minister of Italy, was and a big Milan fan, was putting the decision into doubt, saying you can't do plusvalenza alone. If you are guilty, you have to pay, of course, but you can't do it alone. So if you pay, some other clubs has to pay as well, Salvini. But it's something else that now starts to enter the minds of Italian supporters, Italian journalists, something that we are seeing here since long time, and apparently it's new for them. They are saying that Juventus was spending a lot of money in Serie A, and now this money is gone. It's gone because you are punishing Juventus, because you are actually making sure that they don't know how to spend the money, because they are punished. You don't know if you will participate to Europe in the next year. You don't even know if you will play in Serie A next year. So Juventus is not spending any money, and by consequence the Italian market, it's not spending that money. What are we speaking about? If Juventus in the last 10-12 years was the club that was spending the most in Italy, in Serie A, that was giving that money to Atalanta, to Fiorentina, to that club, and these clubs were able to reinvest that money, or helping to the structures of their own club, or reinvesting in the mercato, buying other clubs from other teams. So it was a system where Juventus was investing a lot of money, and thanks to that money they were able to continue a mercato that was able to live. Well, we see the consequences of Juventus, and we see the first consequence of Juventus not spending in the Italian market. Premier League, 920 million euros spent, where is Serie A? 31 million euros spent. Less than La Liga, less than Bundesliga, 3 million more than the second division in Premier League. A total disaster. And now they are asking themselves, mamma mia, what did we do? This is really strange. Will we be able one day to reinvest money if we are missing the money of Juventus? But apparently not everyone is agreeing with that. The prosecutor, Giuseppe Chinetta, is continuing to push the narrative. Even if Juventus is thinking that they will receive the minus 15 points back, they are really believing it because something was not logical in the accusation of the first lawsuit. Well, apparently Giuseppe Chinetta is already working on another one, the one of the salary maneuver, and he's already thinking to ask minus 20 points deduction for Juventus. Added on the minus 15 is minus 35 points. Total disaster. They want to destroy Juventus. So I want to finish the video, guys, with today we play versus Lazio, we try to win, but most importantly, giù le mani dalla Juventus. Take your hands off from Juventus. Grazie, forza, Juve.